All right, a couple of people have asked me how I fitted the Maxxfan into these leaky Lewmar hatches. So in the first instance, I've gone and bought a couple of brand new Lewmar hatches. So I can interchange these cut old hatches with the new one if I want. So I can take the Maxxfan completely off, because this Maxxfan is going to be fitted into this hatch. So if I want it on, it's on, and it takes about 4-5 minutes to just take the hinge off, and then I can interchange the hatch, the old hatch, with the Maxxfan on, with a brand new hatch if I need. So I've got that interchangeability, and as I say, it just takes about 5 minutes. As you can see, I've got one of the old hatches that was leaky. Most of the leaks we've ascertained was from this little seal that's in the hinge, and then occasionally you get a leak from this little seal that sits right up here in the little locking mechanism. All right, so what I've done is I've had someone cut the hatch out for me. I've taken it to a Perspex guy that can cut them out. So you can see the hinge is going to go back in there, and the Maxxfan is going to face backwards, and then this is the little adapter plate that comes with the Maxxfan. Now you can buy from Maxxfan a blind, but the Lagoon blinds, in the Lagoon 40 as an example, we've got a blind that is for shade, and then a blind that's got like a mesh on it, so partial light in. So I don't need those, so it's not necessary to purchase these if you want to put these Maxxfans into your boat. So as I say, I've had this cut out. I've then marked with the adapter plate for like a turret ring. I've marked this because this is gonna be siliconed with 291 Sikaflex onto the underside of this, or the top side, should I say, because we're looking at the underside. And it's also going to be held down because I'm going to use a Dremel tool to take out that little bit over there to get this hinge hold down fitted in. And then I'm also going to cut these hinges down, because you won't need this hold, not the hinge, sorry, the locking handles on the outside. You won't be able to turn this, because if this is coming through that hole there, it's too close to cut that down. So I'm going to cut it down to right where the seal goes. So I'm going to use a Dremel tool to cut that down as well. So that's just going to be holding down from the top, so I can open the hatch if I need to. Okay, but with the Maxxfan you wouldn't really need to open it. So this is the preparation, this is the setup, and then with this Maxxfan turret ring that comes with the kit, it is adjustable size. So I found with the first one I fitted that I cut this little lip off. You can see there's a little indentation, so I cut that lip off because that's going to sit on the top, and I'll show you from the other side in a second. So as you can see, I've now turned the Lewmar hatch the right way up, and I've got a couple of marks. Don't worry about these marks in it, because you won't see them once it's totally fitted. And as I say, I'm going to cut this little lip off here so that the Maxxfan can go lower down and flusher down, yeah, this is now going to be sealed in, so there's no chance of the hatch leaking any further, and the Maxxfan is going to sit up on the top of that. Now, as you're probably aware, these you can purchase the Maxxfan with a remote control and automatic. It just takes 12 volt, and you can set it to automatically switch on when it gets to, for instance, 26 degrees, and you can have it pull air out, or you can have it push air in. and a simple push button as well, but it's got a remote, so it does come pretty wide, and everything is plastic and stainless steel, so it doesn't leak. I bet you everybody's going to be asking the question, what about the leaks? Well, I've thrown buckets, and I mean buckets of water at this on the other unit I've installed over the master head, and not a drop came in. I've been in a couple of rainstorms because this is obviously facing backwards and you can close it. I haven't had a drop of water. I even attacked it with a garden hose with it closed, and not a drop of water came in. If you think about it, they fit these on camper vans and those Mercedes-Benz buses and transporter buses, and they travel through rain on a highway at 120 kilometers an hour, whatever. So yeah, to touch wood, it hasn't leaked, but this is the process, the preparation, and I'll show you once I've cut down the handles and the little hinges and opened up the holes. So I'll show you the next step in a little while. Okay, so we've progressed a little bit further with making this Maxxfan fit the leaky, what is once a leaky Lewmar hatch, and as you can see, this is how it's going to fit on. So what I've done is, you'll see this black line here, that's part of the part that I'm going to cut off. Everything above that black line is going to be cut off, because that is going to fit into this groove of the Maxxfan, right? And there's screws and everything that holds it together. But as you'll see, the little Lewmar hinge part, I've had to trim down, so you can actually see I've trimmed down a little bit, so it'll fit in there. And then also with the handles, I've had to trim down the little handle holders down, because obviously there's going to be silicone that goes in here and it's going to be sealed, and then that's going to be the handles there. So the handles will still work, but they're just really to secure, to pull down the hatch and make this little black rubber around the outside seal a little bit better. But obviously all around the outside here is going to be held down with Sikaflex 291. So that's the next step, and I'll bring you more as it develops. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I've now fitted the turret ring and the flashing onto the hatch. So that is another hatch I've just taken off now. So I'm going to put that on the forward cabin, one of the forward cabins of this vessel. So I've taken that one off, and then I'm going to be fitting this on. So as you can see, I've now fitted the Maxxfan into the hatch. Everything's screwed down, everything's siliconed in place and sealed and watertight. So I'm actually giving this old hatch a second lease on life, because most of the problems with these old hatches is that they had issues where the hinges come in and the handles come in. So this is actually giving it a second lease on life. I'll show you in a minute when I go and install it what it looks like once it's on. Right, so this is the second Maxxfan that's now been installed, and you can see there's all water droplets on. I've been testing it, chucking buckets of water all over it. So that one's now installed and working. The 12 volt is connected to it, and I have the other one as well installed, and this is over the master head, and the other one is over the small forward cabin. So working well, connected up to power, and definitely giving an old an old hatch a new lease on life, and yeah, sucking a lot of hot air out of the boat or pushing cool air in, and it's waterproof. So I'm pretty happy with the test so far. So this is the Lewmar sunshade. That can be a sunshade, or it can be a mozzie screen type of thing. So this is how it's fitted. It's not perfect. I am working on developing it. The guy that cut the lid or the Lewmar fan up for me didn't do exactly the best job, but the next one I'll be doing the whole lot better. And you can actually see how it's extracting the air. Now there are manual switches. You can do manual operation, but there is also a remote control, so you can actually control the speed and automatic and switch it on and off, etc., with the remote. So I'm actually pretty impressed with what's come of it without having to manufacture a whole new housing for it. So this is just a little bit of a test, but it's working well, and the beauty of it is in about 5 to 6 minutes I can take the hatch off completely and put the original hatch back on. So there's been no cutting and that type of thing. I have connected the 12 volt to it over here with little quick connectors, so I can just quick connect, take it off over there, and yeah, the boat is back to original pretty quickly. So yeah, like that, it's going to be extracting a lot of heat. It can push and pull heat as well. So pretty excited about the outcome of this for removing moisture, heat out of the boat.